Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm taking you along as I tackle a to-do list that I keep putting off. I decided that I am just going to put all of these to-dos on one list, get it knocked out in one day, because they are things that I just keep looking at, noticing like, I've got to get that done. I definitely have some paint touch-up to do, y'all. I was so irritated. If you've been around, you might know that I did a little makeover in my kitchen, and I did paint the windowsill in my kitchen during that makeover. And I do have an oil diffuser over there, and I'm pretty sure it was some drops that like splashed out when I was putting the drops in that kind of corroded the paint. That's my only guess, because it was like in a perfect little circle. So I need to fix that. I have other paint touch-up that I need to get done. In my half bath, our hook that holds the hand towel has been coming out of the wall for several weeks now. It is driving me crazy, so I need to get that done. But like I said, I just thought I would take you along. If you are putting off these little tasks like this that you think might take a long time, make a to-do list with me today and maybe get started on it today. Here I'm just showing you all the products that I'm using to fix my windowsill in my kitchen. It is this Cabinet Transformations by Rust-Oleum product. It comes in a kit, and that's what I used originally. I did forget to mention in my intro that today's video is a Thursday video, and that means Thoughtful Thursday on my channel. If you're new around here or don't know what that means, it just means I'm going to be sharing my thoughts in the voiceover on a random topic, a topic that is just on my mind that I want to share my ideas with you. And I always love feedback and hearing your ideas on the things that I share. So in just a little bit here, I will be sharing my thoughts on a topic. If you follow me over on Instagram, you might have seen a poll that I put up in my Instagram stories where I was asking your advice on how I should structure this video, because I was doing all these little random tasks and I do need to wait in between all of the things that I was doing. Like I needed to let the windowsill dry after I used the liquid sander, and then after I painted it, I needed to let that dry, and I actually did a couple coats of paint, and then I had to let that dry before I did the top coat. So I was doing the other projects in between while I was waiting for the drying to happen. But I did decide to structure this video in such a way that I complete the project from start to finish. So here, this first project, you're seeing me work on my windowsill. And even though I was working on the other projects in between, instead of structuring it chronologically, I'm just structuring it so that the project gets finished from beginning to end for each section of this video, if that makes sense. I did feel like for the sake of the video, it would just seem a lot more cohesive if I stuck to one project at a time. However, I will tell you, on this day, the day felt very chaotic, going from one project to the next. So maybe I should have structured it chronologically so that you would feel that chaos that I was feeling. But I just thought it would be a little bit more calming if I did it this way. I did, however, put some transitions between each scene where there was a break, like where, I had to wait for a while to let something dry. And this right here is the top coat. That's what this kit or this system
You use this base coat, which is a very matte finish, but it adheres really well to the surface that you're painting. And then you do this top coat, which is the protective coat. So if the windowsill gets dirty or wet, it's much easier to clean.
Okay, so first of all, ignore the background noise. My neighbor is getting his roof replaced today, so that is just going to be in the background of today's video. But this is why I put off projects like this. So this hook, the way it's designed is it has a screw that goes into the hook and then a screw that goes into the wall. But I put an anchor on it so that it would be secure, and the anchor is like stuck on it. I am getting it off with 2 needle nose pliers. I'm holding one end of the screw with needle nose pliers and taking another pair and just unscrewing the old anchor, because I'm gonna have to get a new anchor because that one has already been used. But I just wanted to give this little update because I'm not filming this process, but this is what I'm doing right now.
I did decide not to use an anchor. I decided to just see if it would hold up okay without the anchor. And since there was an anchor previously, probably what happened is I did try this the last time, but it didn't hold up. And so I ended up having to put an anchor in. Obviously, even the anchor didn't hold up, but we'll see how this goes. I just decided to start here and hopefully it'll stay in place and not come off the wall.
Okay, next up, I do need to wash my duvet cover. So I recently replaced the duvet insert, and we've been using this for the last month or so, and my husband and I both agree that it is way too warm. The insert is, for whatever reason, because I actually on this website chose the lightest filler or whatever you call it. But we decided to just go back to our other comforter, and I'm just gonna go ahead and wash the duvet cover, put the insert back in, and then put this in an area where we store extra blankets. Perhaps we can use this in the winter. I was putting this one on our bed in the summer because it was lighter colored, and then using the other one, which is kind of like a rusty brown, rusty orange color, for the fall and winter months. But unfortunately, this one is just way too warm for the summer. And honestly, I felt like maybe I was having like night sweats related to hormonal issues, but no, I think it was night sweats related to a comforter that is just way too warm. So I need to get this little task done, which I don't know if y'all have duvet covers, but this is one of my least favorite tasks, is wrangling the insert out of the duvet cover and then washing it and then drying it and then wrangling it back in. It's a whole process, and it's just not fun. But it is something that I need to get done, so we'll get it done together.
Okay, friends, for today's Thoughtful Thursday topic, I wanted to encourage you to quit making excuses in life. Dun, dun, dun. Please know that when I tackle topics like this that sound a little judgy, I guess, for a lack of a better word, I am talking to myself too. I have said this before. These chats are just as much to encourage me as it is to encourage you. I think it is human nature to make excuses for why we don't do certain things or why we do certain things in life. It helps us to feel better about ourselves and our choices. We rationalize to comfort us when we fall short and to protect our egos from failure. But one thing I have noticed for myself is that it can be helpful to be an observer of your thoughts or even what you say to really determine if you are truly living authentically or if you are just making excuses to not do the things that could help you to become a better person, to learn and to grow. I'll give you an example. I want to read more. I have been wanting to read more for years, yet when I talk to people about wanting to read more, I tend to immediately make excuses for why I don't read more. I blame my high energy and how it's hard for me to sit still. I blame my perimenopause-induced ADHD, which causes a lack of focus, or how I feel unproductive when I just sit and read. The truth is, I lack the discipline to make reading a more regular part of my routines. It would be one thing if I just accepted that I don't have discipline, but instead I make excuses so that I don't feel bad about myself. Excuses often stem from fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of change. When someone says, I don't have time to do this or that, what they actually mean is that they don't want to prioritize it. When someone says, I'm just not good at this or that, they really mean they don't want to put in the effort and try the thing, and or they don't want to risk failure. Excuses can come from a place of victim mentality as well. We may believe that our circumstances dictate our success or failure, and while it's true that we may have challenges or injustices in our lives, Blaming others or our circumstances only strips us from our autonomy and the belief that we have the power to change our circumstances. Making excuses may protect your ego in the short term, but in the long term, it sabotages your goals. Excuses prevent us from learning and growing. It can also diminish our self-respect. Deep down, we may know that we are not being authentic. This inner conflict can lead to anxiety, low self-esteem, and lack of motivation. The more someone hides behind excuses, the more they drift from who they truly want to be. When we choose to quit making excuses, it doesn't deny that life can be hard or that things are not always in our control. It means that while you can't control everything, you can control your response to things. Taking responsibility instead of making excuses shifts the focus to what you can do instead of what you can't do. I have said this phrase so many times: you choose your hard. We often make excuses for why we are not doing the hard thing, but doing the hard thing up front makes the long term easier or at least more enjoyable. Often it's when we don't do the hard thing and we make excuses as to why we're not doing the hard thing that later things actually become more difficult. Excuses are easy, but progress is hard. If you want to live a life of purpose, achievement, and growth, you have to quit making excuses. Stop blaming, stop delaying, and stop doubting. Take responsibility for your choices, your mindset, and your future. It's not always comfortable, but it's always worth it, because the moment you stop making excuses is this moment you start making progress in life. Okay, friends, that is all I have to share for this week's thoughts. I hope that they inspired or encouraged you, and I hope you might stay tuned for the rest of this video.
Okay, people, next up is repainting just the top of this built-in, or I guess I should say the bottom shelf of the built-in. The other shelves are fine, but for whatever reason, this bottom shelf area has gotten a lot of like nicks and scratches, and so it just needs to be repainted. The nail in the coffin for me was one time I was cleaning and I dropped something and it totally gouged the shelf. So this is what's up next, and I have to say, y'all, I am on this struggle bus today. I don't know if it's because it's Monday or other things happening in the universe in my body. I just am not wanting to do any of these projects, but I am just plowing through getting them done. So please, if you have projects on your to-do list that you don't want to do, write them down, start them today, do them with me. I know you can do it, you can get it done. There's always projects like this that just are tedious and not fun, but we have to get them done. And I realized some of the reason why I don't like doing these projects is because they're multi-stepped. And I think that's what prevents me from even getting started. As you saw, I needed to remove everything off the shelf, and that's just step one. Now I've got to prep the area, I've got to clean it, I've got to do the liquid sander, and then the top coat, and then, then the base coat, and then the top coat. So it's just a long process. So, but like I said, something that's just got to get done.
So this was on the next day. I decided to wait for the paint to fully cure overnight before I put the top coat on, since this was a larger surface area that I was working with. And not to mention, it was getting quite late in the day by the time I finished painting. So I decided to just leave this until the next day. Okay, friends, this video is wrapping up for today. I do hope that you enjoyed this type of video. I hope you were encouraged or inspired by the things I said in my voiceover for my Thoughtful Thursday thoughts. As always, I do love to hear your thoughts on my thoughts, so please let me know down in the comments. And if you're still with me, if the voiceover did resonate with you, please type in the comments, "Quit making excuses." I do ask you to type things like this, not only because it helps the algorithm, it does help me and my channel for you to leave a comment, but also it helps you to type this out, to type out something that you want to change in your life. So please type that in the comments below if you don't type anything else. As always, I truly appreciate you watching my videos all the way until the end, and I will see you next time. Bye!